Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and today we're going to look at more stuff from you viewers because it's piling up and there's some of the stuff that I want to use, so I figure now is the time. So let's dive in. Let's start with this letter. This is from viewer Skip from Pennsylvania. He says, I hear you're repairing a 550 cockshut. I have a 570 cockshut, 230s, 240s. My uncle had a dealership in the late 1940s and sold Oliver's, cockshuts, and eventually whites until retirement in 1987. You mentioned you leave some sleeves for a Hercules engine. Contact Zimmerman Oliver Cleatrack here in Pennsylvania. I contacted him for mine. I actually contacted a place in, where was it, Ohio maybe, called Hurricano Propulsion or something like that. They might have changed names now, but that's always the place that I heard of to call. But that's good to know that Zimmerman can get them too, because I didn't know that. It says, Chris, the Oliver Man, led me to them. I belong to the Cockshut International Quarterly Club. They are very helpful. Then he gives the name of some other people that have parts. And yeah, Phil Heisley, I think is the guy's name. He is a walking cockshut manual. I have heard that. I've talked to him at different times over the years. The Cockshut Club has a number of items for sale. There's a book written by Bill Cockshut that lets you into the truth of what happened to Cockshut and how they started the tractor line in 1946 with live PTO, which took other companies several years to get this feature. Also, there's engineers develop the best combine in the market. I watch you every day. Always keep me in laughing. Always keep me laughing. And then anyway, I hope this is helpful. Viewer Skip. Thank you, Skip, for writing. Yes, it was helpful, because I didn't realize that Zimmerman could get Hercules parts as well. But I do think some of the crawlers might have used Hercules engines. And yeah, I guess if a lot of people didn't realize, Cockshut was the first tractor company to have a live power takeoff. It was not Oliver. Oliver was second with that feature, because Cockshut started it with like the, you know, the E3 co-op series, the 30 Cockshut, that body style, which would have been in like the mid 40s, I guess you would say, somewhere in that range. You know, maybe it was slightly before Oliver. You know, the fleet lines came out in like 49, I guess 48 if you want to count the old style stuff. So Cockshut was technically first, and then Oliver, you know, had live PTO, and then it seems like everybody else, it took for a long time. People always argue with me about what a live PTO is, you know, and they say, well, these other companies had live PTO. I don't call a two-stage clutch, foot clutch, live PTO. Live PTO means, to me, the PTO is driven directly off the engine and it has its own separate clutch to run it, so that there is nothing to do with the foot clutch for PTO. So I don't know, maybe that's a technical definition problem, but that's what I think a lot. When I talk about live PTO, that's what I'm thinking. So thank you, viewer Skip, for the info. Let's see if I can, that'll probably blow away before we're done, but that's okay. Now this is kind of cool, because this came from England, and this came before I bought the full-size tractor, so it's pretty neat. I've had it open once, but then I put it away so that I didn't lose the letter or anything. Now, of course, I'm going to have some struggles getting, we've got packing peanuts, see? Those will probably blow all over the place. Okay, let's do something different before I make a mess. Let me get rid of these packing peanuts, because as soon as we're done here today, this is going to go on display. All right, I'm going to stand closer to you for this one. But have a look here. It's a little Oliver 600. I don't know what scale we call this, but that's pretty cool. What's it say? I don't know, it doesn't say what the actual scale is, but I have seen these before, and this is pretty neat. It says, "Hey Ross," let me get back where we can see. It says, "Hey Ross, I collect model tractors and I have 2 of these Oliver 600 tractor models. I don't know if you can get these in the US, so I thought I'd send you one. I enjoy watching all your videos. Keep up the good work. Best wishes, Peter from England." Thank you so much, Peter. This is super cool. And yeah, a little 600, which people keep asking. The 600 is the same as the David Brown 990. So, and then the 500 is the same as the David Brown 850, I believe. So yeah, pretty sweet and very accurate little model. I mean, it looks just right. So I don't know what the toy companies are over there, you know, like here in the US we have like Ertl and SpecCast, that which I think are basically the same company. I think one owns the other or whatever, but they make pretty well all the tractor toy models you see. So I don't know who the toy company is over there that makes them, but they did a good job as far as accuracy and quality, because I've noticed here as of late, modern toy companies just crank them out as fast as they can, and they reuse molds, and there's a lot of mistakes on the toys. If you look at them, you know that some of them will have 2 clutch pedals, and mufflers will be in the wrong spot that don't even line up with the little manifold. So that's pretty cool, because that's very nice quality, and I'm sure that wasn't cheap. So thank you very much, Peter. I will definitely put this with the rest of my toy collection, so that is pretty sweet. All right, next on our agenda, and I don't know if I want to unwrap all this because I think some of these might be loose leaf. They should have staples in them, but we all know how things should have. Oh, there's actually 2 different things in here. So let me start with this one. This was given to me by a local viewer, a friend of mine, and he was digging through his manuals, and he had an extra, or he had this manual for an Oliver Superior grain drill that I guess his grandpa must have had at some point. So that's pretty cool, because it actually says the name of the dealer. I would assume that his grandpa wrote that on there. Cordis Hardware in Seymour, Indiana, they were the Oliver dealer here until the co-op took over in like the 60s. And then it's got his grandpa's name written on it, and October 11th, 1940. So that's pretty cool. And this would be, oh yeah, the number 26 combined fertilizer grain drill. And I actually have, I have 3 model 20, no, 4 now, because a guy just brought me, I'll have to show you that. We could call that with viewer mail too. But I actually have 4 of these drills. I have 1 on steel, high wheel steel, 2 on high wheel rubber now, and 1 low wheel rubber. So that is pretty cool. While we're talking drills, let's go look at this. Nothing like doing a field trip on viewer mail. There's some parts for it. This just happened just a few days ago, so I haven't even got it put away yet. And then of course it rained on it, which is not ideal. But this is another Model 26 drill on high wheel rubber, and the rubber appears to be great. I mean, it's still holding air. They aired it up and said it's, you know, been holding air ever since. The thing about it is kind of rough. I mean, you can tell that they used it a bunch. There's some stuff that's broke back here, and things aren't connected right. I guess most of the drop tubes and stuff are in that little nail keg, but, and of course the typical mouse has been living in. So what I really need to do, well, I need to find a place to put this inside, because wood outside doesn't last very long. So we're gonna have to do that. But what I'm getting at is I need to probably sort through my drill collection and decide, like, is this one gonna just end up being a parts drill because there's so much stuff mangled and messed up. That other one I have, I think it would plant. So I don't know. It's so nice though, really, in a lot of ways, the quality of the wood. I just need to find a place to stick it in the shed in the corner and not worry about it for now. But I guess what I'm saying is if I end up having to have parts, this would probably be the one that becomes a parts drill. I have that low wheel rubber one where the wood box is rotted on part of it because the roof leaked on it. And I got that second box, if you recall, from an auction for not like 20 bucks. So I was hoping to put that box on the low wheel drill and make it back the way it's supposed to be. So I don't know. Anyway, this was pretty cool that they thought of me, because I guess the story I got was these guys are my cousins. They rent this farm, I think, from these people, or they farm next to them and know them. And these guys said something about it to him, said, do you know anybody who'd want this drill? Because we're getting ready to tear down this building that it's sitting in. And they said, yeah, we think we know a guy. So they made the deal happen, and then he brought it over here one day and I set it off. So we'll tinker with it and decide if it's, you know, if this is the one to keep or the other one's the one to keep. It's, you know, a little bit cracked in places. It's well used, is what I'm saying. I mean, this old equipment was not bought to look at. They bought it to use. So anyway, definitely worth saving, because they wouldn't have got much for it at the scrapyard, because a lot of it's wood. So thank you, viewers. I don't know the owners, but I do know my cousins, so thank you. All right, I hope we're back in frame here so that we're not, you know. Second part of this pile of books comes from Doug Nelson, who you may or may not know is the tractor art guy who makes the artwork like you see in the Heritage Iron magazines and Oliver Heritage magazines. And he's the one that made the design for my shirts and stuff, and for that Oliver guy's stuff. And he sent me a message the other day and he said, hey, I just bought a bunch of manuals at a show, and he said there's a bunch in there for Fiats. He said, would you like to have them? Because he said, I don't think I'll ever use them. And I said, absolutely, because I've got quite the collection of little SpaghettiOs now. So we've got, I don't want to pull them out of here because I think some of them are, the staples have gone and they're loose leaf pages. But this one is for 1250A, 1255, 1265. And then this one is for 1365, 1355, and of course the Moline version of them. And then there is one back here for a 1465 and 1470, which are basically glorified 1450s. But yeah, so that is pretty cool. Thank you, Doug, because I will definitely put these to use. I was looking the other day, I thought that I had one for everything, and it turns out I don't. So some of these will be definitely appreciated, because we're going to be putting a collection of 1250A and different things. So yeah, it's good to see this instead of just, you know, having these go to waste. So thank you, Doug. Let's see, here we go. All right, this in the box is from viewer Ron, and he sent me messages before and different things, and he actually sent me he messaged me when we were working on the Junkyard Super 77, and he said, I got something you need. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And I agree, I need this. This is an equalizer pedal for a disc brake 77, so this will fit right on. I think he said it actually came off an industrial 770, but that should fit on the Super 77 from the junkyard. And he asked if I wanted it, and he said, you know, he'd send it, and I said I'll pay for the shipping. And then whenever I got it, I said, how much do I owe you? And he said, payment for shipping is not necessary. Use the cash to buy Buddy the dog some treats. Glad to provide a part to help make the Junkyard Super 77 more complete. So thank you, viewer Ron. This is pretty cool. I just haven't had time. I was going to get this out a long time ago and put it on there so I didn't lose it, you know. But I will do that today, actually. I'll clean this up and meadow greenify it and stick it on there, and then it'll be right where it belongs. So thank you, viewer Ron, and this will go to good use. All right, this one I was in the process of opening, and then I wasn't able to open it for some, there we go. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, because I think this person sends me something like this every year for the last several years. And I don't want to break it, so I gotta, there we go. All right. Should probably not show his address on there. He may not want that. But it says, "Dear Ross, another good year at the Edgar Steam Show. Thought you'd like another shingle. Love your videos. Keep doing what you're doing." And this viewer Mike. So this is pretty cool because he sent one about every year. So North Central Wisconsin Antique Steam and Gas Engine Show. And that is cool. They even have little wood burnings of like an engine and a tractor and a steam engine. And wooden shingle, I think I've talked about this before. You know, you can see how they're tapered, and then you'd layer them on there on your house or whatever. I just worked on my uncle's barn a few days ago, and under the one side they laid the tin over top of the wooden shingles. We didn't realize that, but it's very obvious there was a whole bunch of these layered on there. So this was the way used to, wood. And I'm sure that they probably used, like nowadays when they make these souvenir shingles, they make them out of whatever. But I'm sure that when they made them for houses, they probably made them out of like cedar or something that resisted rotting, you know, so that they'd last a while. But pretty cool. Sidebar, I've kind of wanted a shingle mill. I've been looking, and I never find them close by or what I consider to be reasonably priced. But I would like to have one, because I would go to, like, I would take that to the fair and make shingles. I think that would be fun, you know, fun thing to do with belt pulley. So if anyone close to me has a shingle mill that they want to sell, let me know. And I'd like an old-timey shingle mill, just like, you know, you see a lot of them had, they would cut the shingle, and then they would also have another place where you could put them against and edge them so that they had a smooth, you know, finish on the edge. So I don't know, but that's pretty cool. Thank you, Mike. Next on our agenda, this is super cool. I can't believe that somebody sent me this, because I've looked at these and just never bought one. But it is from, let's set this here and I'll read first. This is from viewer Farron, and he has sent stuff before, and he's a regular viewer. He comments on a lot of videos. He says, "Thanks for keeping the steady flow of videos coming. I really enjoy the content and your sense of humor, and look forward to viewing daily. I was watching the other day when you were troubleshooting a customer's 550, and I thought if a guy had a borescope, it would take a lot of guesswork out of trying to find the cause of the problem. I'm certainly not trying to change the way you work your problem-solving skills, but I have one just like this and use it weekly. Just another tool in the box to make life easier. You may or already have one, or just consider it an early birthday or Christmas gift. Please don't wait for a viewer mail segment to use it. If you find an opportunity to use it, go for it. By the way, if you need any info about 3208 CAT engines you own, or if I can help in any way, feel free to email or call. I worked for CAT for nearly 20 years and spent quite a time on those engines, and still have contacts with dealer support if something comes up that stumps me. Keep the entertainment coming, Farron." So this is pretty cool. And I did not have an opportunity yet to use it because I just got it today. Like I don't stop at the post office every day. I stop, you know, probably maybe a couple times a week or so. And the last time I stopped, there was nothing. And today when I went, there was like 4 or 5 things. So yeah. But let's have a look-see at this. I'm gonna have to do some reading in this little book. I hope it tells me how it works, because but basically it has a little screen, and you hook it to this, like it goes on this wand thing you hold, and then the other end is just a little camera. I assume it has a little rubber cover over it, and then it will show us magical things down inside of the engine. And that's pretty cool. I have wanted one of those for a while and just never made it happen. So I'm gonna have to read up on how to use it. I assume that it's probably USB chargeable because there's a USB cable in it. So, oh, this camera cannot be used as a medical device. So if anybody has one of these and tells you to bend over, it's probably not meant for that. The camera cannot be used in a high temperature environment. There will be a buzzer alarm when the temperature is higher than 85 degrees Celsius. So, can't use it on a hot engine, gotta wait till it's cold. But I will read up on this and we'll try it out because this is definitely super cool. And I'm sure it wasn't cheap, so thank you for sending this to me because I don't know that I really deserve that. I mean, that's pretty cool. So we will try that out. I wonder how, I'm thinking in my mind of all the things we could try it out on to see. And one thing we could try it on to see if we get a chance to work on that project, because I would like to tear it down this winter, is that 1955 that I have and have never done anything with yet. The engine is really bad and I filled it full of diesel fuel at one time, but it would be cool if I could pull out the injectors and get this thing to slide down in there and see if we could see how bad it is before we take the head off, just for fun. But we can pull spark plugs and stuff and check inside of engines and see how bad they are. So thank you so much. That is not expected, but definitely appreciated. So thank you. All right, this box is from another viewer, Mike, as in Mike Jensen, Farm Alice. If you like Alice Chalmers, look him up on YouTube because he's got a channel. And he sent me a message the other day and he said, do you need any 5209 disc mower parts? And I said, why, sure. So he said, I will dig them out and send them to you. So that is what I assume is in this box. So let's dig through it and see what we got. I am a fairly new owner to the 5209, so I don't even know, you know, what I need or don't need yet. But it looks like we have a decent pile of stuff in here. I need to unfold these and read his hometown newspaper. Maybe I can learn some cool gossip about him. Oh. So we have some belts. So I'm gonna have to figure out where that goes. We got belts, and then we've got this looks like a seal. Actually, that looks like that could be a tractor seal there. I'll have to look that up. Let's see. Then we have some of the like blade holder bolts and things, a bag of those. And then we have some blades. And so that's pretty cool. I don't know if there's a package of right and left. Let's take a look at that. Are they the same? I'm not smart enough to know. No, I think they're rights and lefts. Yeah. So there would be, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. So 7 in each stack here. So at any rate, that's cool, because when I go to order blades to change them, I'll put these on first and then order whatever. So it has, I'd have to look at it. I don't remember how many turtles it has on it. Maybe this is enough to do the whole thing. I don't know. But at any rate, thank you, Mike, for sending these, because it would just be easy for me to use that stuff as for it to sit on the shelf till the end of time, you know. That's the thing. I've got stuff like that too. I've got parts that I'll probably never use, but I don't know the guy who needs that thing, so it's helpful when we can do stuff like that for each other. So thank you, Mike. That's awesome. I think this is the last thing in today's installment. And I'm gonna have to, this is a gigantic box, but I don't think we need the gigantic box up in the air. Oh, well, maybe we do. There's a lot more stuff in here than I thought. This person emailed me about, or sent me a message. This is just, I mean, you guys are the greatest. I just can't believe that you people send me stuff like this, because this is like not cheap. But viewer Michael, who is another faithful viewer, he comments on every video, and I appreciate that. I don't know what to say, because I just say the same thing all the time. Thanks for watching. But he sent me stuff before too, but he said, I'm going to send you a light. And so that's what I thought was coming, but there is a lot more in here than that. So let's read. All right. Make sure you can you see me? Well, I'll come closer. He says, hey Ross, I got you some things. I know you do not like wearing gloves okay, I'm not very good at reading. I know you are not like wearing gloves after seeing you get zapped pretty good with the Cyclops. I got you a pair of gloves that will protect you from getting shocked the next time you're working on the electric fence. That's cool. You know what, my wheels are turning here, friends. I'm thinking about putting these on and going back in there and grabbing that fence just to see if this really works. With the extra okay, I gotta do that. Sorry, we're gonna pause. I never knew such a thing existed as electric gloves, so this is either gonna be the coolest thing ever or one of the dumbest things I've ever done. But I'm gonna put these on immediately and go grab the electric fence. Okay. It's supposed to keep me from getting shocked. Well, I can tell you that they cut down on it, but they don't totally prevent it. I got a pretty good shock, but it wasn't unmanageable. It's like the first touch, you don't get anything, but that is the beauty of the Cyclops. The Cyclops has a way of cutting through all kinds of stuff. Like it burns through insulators and things, so I'm not surprised. It does keep you from getting shocked from a quick jolt, but if you leave it there too long, you get it on like the second hit. But it's not as severe as it was if you do it just barehanded, because the Cyclops, when you hit it barehanded, it'll make your arm numb. So this is definitely cutting down quite a bit on it, but the Cyclops is so hot that it's not gonna stop it. But that's cool. I mean, I didn't even know something like this existed, but that definitely makes it better. I mean, if you get shocked with it, you could still function. But if you get shocked barehanded with the Cyclops, it takes you a while to get feeling back in your arm. So that's pretty cool. Well, that was probably the dumbest thing you ever saw a guy do today, is put on a pair of gloves and go grab an electric fence. But we gotta get back to this. That was neat. I mean, I'll use those, because that definitely, like I said, that's better than barehanded. It's not 100%, but it's definitely doing a lot. So that's pretty cool. All right, where were we? All right, here we go. Oh, goody. With this extendable magnet, hopefully you won't have to use so many animal stems a lot. That is cool. I had a cheapo one, and I never could find it, and I finally found it back the other day, but I like this a lot better. This one is telescoping pretty far, and what I like about it is to lock it, you just turn it, so you don't have to. I think that other one I had like a wing nut or something. And then also this is a much stronger magnet than that other one I have. And yeah, this may seem like it's not a big deal, but if you're working on something and you keep dropping stuff, this is a lot handier than having to, you know, get off your chair and whatever, bend down and do it. So that's cool. Put in several different lights for you that will light up your work area. With the fuel indicator on the lights, they will work better than the first one I sent you. I used that first one a bunch until it finally, like, it doesn't take a charge anymore. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad to say, seeing you saving as many Oliver tractors as you can. Thank you, Michael. So he sent in here several different styles of lights. So that is pretty cool, friends. USB-C rechargeable, it says. That one's not C, that one is like, well, I think Harbor Freight probably doesn't know the, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to look at the end of the cord. Oh, okay, so that one's USB-C. I think they all are. Or is that the old style? That might be like the old style cell phone thing there, but that works. This one is, ooh, looky there, ooh. So that's pretty cool. And then we have a flashlight style. Ooh, what's it doing? Is it like, on the camera it looks like it's flashing, but it's not doing that in real life. So that's some kind of magic of cameras and what they do. But yeah, it's not doing that flashing in real life. It's only doing that on the camera. Did the other ones do that? I don't know. They didn't do that so much. So that's weird. I don't know why that one of them on camera looks like it's flashing, but this one's got an end light, so that's pretty cool. Awesome. All right, friends, I have to say thanks again, because it does amaze me that people send anything other than a box of, you know, dog turds or something. But I'm getting some nice stuff, and I wish that I did more to deserve it, because I feel like I'm getting a lot more from you than you're getting from me, because what am I doing? I'm just making some videos, working on stuff. So, but that is awesome. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the interactions. And like I said, I would say that probably 99% of the stuff is good, positive stuff. There's the occasional, you know, comment that's kind of ridiculous, because it's obvious that some people, they'll leave a hateful comment or something, and you can tell that they didn't watch the whole video, or they didn't watch the video before, so they don't know what's going on. And sometimes I'm not very good about, in each video, explaining exactly what I did. You know, there's some things that get cut out, and then I don't realize till later, well, that was the part where I explained why I did what I did. And then there's also the part of that I'm a moron, so there's a chance that I'm probably not doing it right, and that's just the way it is. So yeah, what can I say? But thank you, everybody who watches. All the people who send stuff, definitely is not expected, but it's always cool to go to the post office and find that there's stuff there, that people took the time out of their day to send me, and I try to use it on camera as much as possible. You know, viewer Michael sent me a box of stuff years ago, like when I first started, that extendable ratchet. I used that all the time, and like I said, I used that light till it finally, it wouldn't take a charge anymore. So definitely is awesome, and I appreciate everybody, even if I don't, you know, make that clear. Sometimes I get way behind on the comment answering, and I don't know what to say finally to answer, because I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but I want you to know that I care, so I try to respond to them. But if it's the same answer all the time, that's why. I'm not smart enough to come up with something unique for each thing, I guess. But I do appreciate everybody watching, and it helps grow the channel, and I think we're doing pretty good. I mean, in just, what has it been, maybe 3 years? Has it been 3 years? Yeah, probably about 3 years that we've had the channel going, and we're up to almost 17,000 subscribers. And I think that's a respectable rate of growth, you know, compared to other channels that have been on for years and they may only have, you know, 30,000 now. So in 3 years we've gotten pretty far. So I hope to keep it going, keep the momentum going and grow, because the more you watch and the more of all that stuff means the more that I'm able to afford to do all kinds of different projects, and we can start getting, you know, fancier stuff. You know, the high crop tractor is an example of that. I don't know if people think that's cool, but I think it's cool, and that's something that probably I don't know if I would have been able to buy if it wasn't for YouTube, you know, to justify doing that. So that's awesome. Maybe we can get to the point where we can start buying some front wheel assist tractors, or, you know, something that's really rare. I don't know, it'd be fun. But thanks again for watching, and keep leaving your comments and your thumbs up and all that stuff. Everything you do helps the channel. So, and thanks to all my viewers who sent stuff today. That's pretty awesome. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.